Ladies and gentlemen, from a catacomb buried deep beneath the streets of the New World Order, this is the Remnant Underground. And now, here's your host, Michael J. Matt.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Matt for Remnant TV. Nope, not down in the underground today. We're in Italy for John Rau's Roman Forum Summer Symposium this week. It's been a huge success. I think we'll do some coverage, follow-up coverage on this in the next couple of weeks. I just wanted to make an announcement here because I made the announcement during my own presentation earlier this week at the symposium about something called the League of the Sacred Heart. Briefly, what this is all about is something I noticed years ago. You know how all the conservatives wear the little U.S. flag on their lapel on Fox News and everything else. It's nice, whatever. Kind of declaring their allegiance, though, to the American thing and, you know, play by those rules, which basically are the rules of the Enlightenment and so forth. And it just struck me that maybe it's possible for us to come up with sort of a Catholic answer to that, a Catholic alternative to that. So we're going to be starting the League of the Sacred Heart. Very excited. I hope you'll join it. It's very simple. It just is a question of wearing a little lapel pin. We're going to get into bumper stickers and you know, different things like that. But starting with the lapel pin of the Sacred Heart that everyone can wear. There's going to be no email campaign, no fundraising for this. Your privacy is going to be protected. All you have to do is ask for it. We'll provide it. And the conditions are that you'll agree to wear it when you can and make an effort to make the 9 First Fridays. That's it. And the reason for this is because I think we need to come up, this is what we discussed here at the symposium, we need to come up with you know, a more Catholic action, Catholic alternative. And Catholic action has to be unique, as St. Pius X said. It has to be uniquely Catholic. So sometimes I feel kind of bad for the pro-lifers. They're working so hard and you know, day and night, they're sacrificing and doing such great work, but it always seems like it's an uphill, really, you know, an uphill battle. Well, what if we start using the Sacred Heart of Jesus, at least Catholic pro-lifers, and try to, you know, put him front and center again, as happened so often in the past, you know, all the way back to St. Margaret Mary Alacoque in the 16th century, when our Lord appeared to her and asked for things like the Sacred Heart to be put on, you know, to make badges and to pass them out in true devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, which is what she, you know, she followed those instructions, and the great devotion to the Sacred Heart continued after that, and to the point where we have a feast day of the Sacred Heart. We have many, many papal encyclicals about the Sacred Heart devotion. What are we waiting for? You know, it seems to me that if you look at history, you look at the Vendéans, what did they do? They emblazoned the Sacré-Cœur across even the French the Masonic, you know, the tricolor, their own flag finally, that had the Sacred Heart on it to show that they are Catholic first. They wore the Sacred Heart in battle. Sometimes their wives, would just sort of daughters, whatever, would simply, you know, make these little things, crochet them and put them on their uniforms. It's a really beautiful thing. And if you think about the war in the Vendée, it was a powerful reaction to the French Revolution. Yeah, they didn't technically win in the end, but maybe in terms of, you know, military victories, but victories for the faith, absolutely. In that, after the Vendée, after the beheading of the Catholic king and queen, after, you know, wiping out the Carmelites and, you know, religious and priests and nuns and everything in Paris during the Reign of Terror, making the church basically illegal, making it illegal for priests to walk around dressed as priests and so forth. What happened? I mean, after that, you have Saint Therese, you have the Cure of Ars, you have this whole array of just powerful saints. So the faith did survive in France, and devotion to the Sacred Heart always had a huge part of that. And it's the same with the Cristeros. They wore the Sacred Heart. The Carlists in Spain wore the Sacred Heart. And I think it's something that we should, then I shouldn't say should, but I think maybe we need to give that a try, where we declare our allegiance to the kingship of Christ and to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and we wear this little pin. So a lot more on that in the months to come, weeks and months to come. We're going to explain how that's possible and how we're going to kick off this League of the Sacred Heart, how you can become a part of it. But I thought it was unfair, since we already talked about it here in Italy. I wanted my friends to know in Remnant TV land that indeed this project is going to be kicking off. That I wanted to make that announcement, and then also just let you know that the next season, season 6 of the Remnant Underground is gearing up and ready to go. Rob's not with me this week, so but he's back preparing the catacomb with some new goodies, and we're really excited about season 6 kicking off in just a few weeks now. But I wanted to thank you for your patience, because we haven't been able to, for the Remnant TV, late spring, early summer is really a time when we get heavily involved in Catholic action. So we've had many conferences lately. We did the Great Chartres Pilgrimage, which is again completely devoted to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. We just got back from that. That was a huge success. So excited about that. You know, the average age seems to be down to about 20 years old now. of 16, 17, 18,000 young people from all over Europe marching for the Sacred Heart of Jesus, marching for Our Lady, marching for Catholic identity from Paris to Chartres. Cardinal Robert Sarrat was there. I'm sure you've all followed this by now, but it was really, really positive. And then that was followed up with this big Roman Forum here, the symposium here in Italy, which has attracted all sorts of top-flight academics and journalists and priests and so forth to, again, plan out, educate, pray, and strategize for Catholic action. So it's been an action-heavy summer so far, and we appreciate your patience with respect to not a lot of Remnant TV programming. It's all getting ready to start back up again. And then finally, a little something which I think is unfortunate, a little unpleasant. I've been getting some email here, but one of the nice things about this thing is that this symposium is that we're not online all that much, so we do a lot of in the real world talking and debating and discussing with real people, real men. It's fantastic for that reason, because if you disagree with somebody here, you sit down across the table and maybe have a glass of wine and fight it out a little bit, but you don't snipe at them or hit them in the back or whatever, because this is the real world here on the shores of Lake Garda, and we don't rely on the internet for anything. So, but I understand from email that we've been getting some attacks back home. I don't really know which ones. I guess Michael Voris took another shot at us for something. Do you know anything about this? I don't know what it is, but anyway, I think he was saying that because we've been supportive of the Society of St. Pius X over the years, that, Michael, Matt, better be careful, that God's going to judge him harshly, I'm going to go to hell or whatever. I can't believe in the middle of all this, what's going on in Rome, all the problems in the world, these people are still fretting about the societies and of St. Pius X. And sometimes I worry it's just because the society is the biggest, the big boys. There's so many of them. It's a huge organization, and other people, sort of compete with the society, want to pull them down. I don't know what it is. But I heard that. I didn't see the program. I understand we come under attack a little bit for our friendly position to the Society of St. Pius X. Mr. Voris can think and say whatever he wants about me, folks. I really, really don't care. I just don't. And there's so many things on the internet that are just really off the wall. I only wanted to go for about 3 minutes to catch people up, but a couple of the examples of things that have been going on are actually kind of funny. The other day, somebody sent me an email saying that some character went online and announced to the world that the reason that the Remnant was able to go take 50 young people to Chartres this year is because of Opus Dei. That Opus Dei organization is backing us up. So we're bankrolled heavily by Opus Dei. Did you see this one? It's hilarious. Now, the fact that the Remnant over the years has gone after Opie-Dopey a little bit for some of their shenanigans, I guess that doesn't matter. We've done a lot of things over the years concerned about that organization. We've never had anything to do with them. And all of a sudden, there's some yahoo on the internet telling everyone that we are Opus Dei. And there are people watching this, apparently, and they say, wow, that's great. It's on the internet. That's got to be true. Michael Matt is an Opus Dei plant. I just never knew that. I mean, folks, this is just crazy that anyone's listening to this stuff. It's just bat nuts. It's crazy. There's nothing to it. You can Google it if you want to find out the articles that we've written in the past and got ourselves in trouble with Opus Dei for attacking Opus Dei. And yet now I'm a plant for Opus Dei. You know what? If Opus Dei is giving all this money to the Remnant, somebody please telephone my wife, tell her to check the mailbox for the big check from Opus Dei, because so far we haven't gotten a taste of Opus Dei's millions to do their bidding. The young people go to Chartres because we have wonderful, mostly older people, who are on every year donate to send these young people to pilgrimage because they want them to pray for them and they want them to have the traditional faith, instilled in their hearts. It has nothing to do with a plot. There's no conspiracy. There's no money, except for that from older folks, retired folks who give their widow's mite to send these young folks to Chartres on pilgrimage and for their benefit as well. There's a partnership there. So it's disheartening. It's mostly pretty absurd, a little funny. Another one, briefly, before I wrap this up, but the other one was great. What was it now?
Tradcat Thomas.
Yes, Tradcat Thomas, whatever that is.
Something like that.
Some kind of a blog guy. He's reporting that the men of Christendom need to come to the aid of Cornelia Ferrera, who's a writer, speaker.
Yeah, she does good stuff.
I've known Cornelia. I've seen her at Father Gruner conferences for a long, long time. I'd call her a friend. Anyway, so I supposedly fired her from the Remnant, banned her from ever writing for the Remnant again.
You hired her?
And never hired her. That's the only problem. Cornelia Ferrera, although she's an old friend of mine, has never, ever written a single article for the Remnant. Never. I never hired her. I have not had a communication with Cornelia in years, 10 years probably, let alone firing her and banning her from the pages of the Remnant. I don't know where they come up with this stuff. Mostly it's funny, but I feel bad for some of the people who, buy into it. Well, it must be true because Radcat Tom, or whatever his name is, reported it, and so there have been a couple of requests for us to respond to this and reply to this stuff, and other than what I'm saying right now, there is not going to be a reply to this. My newspaper's 50 years old. My family's been doing this for 150 years. Our reputation is set. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm not trying to start something new. I'm not trying to build my brand up and become some famous guy in the world by attacking everybody else who's out there. This is not what I do. I'm just a guy raising my 7 kids and doing the best I can to, fight against the people that want to destroy our church, So it's a little frustrating, but again, I don't think it deserves a response. My editorial policy, how we do things, is established, and people have been subscribing to us for a half century. They know what we're doing. If you want to have a little guide for when you say, well, how are we supposed to know who's telling the truth about this stuff? I would suggest you look at the direction in which the firing is coming from. We talk about the circular firing squad and all of that. Look at the direction in which all this vitriol is coming. And then ask yourself, go over to the Remnant site and look around and say, who's the Remnant going after? Well, the Remnant's going after nobody, except people that hate Christ. The Remnant doesn't attack traditional Catholics. The Remnant has a couple principal differences with a few of them. We'll have discussions about things. But as far as attacking people, attacking the competition, we don't do it. But there's a lot of it coming our direction. People firing at the Remnant for this and for that. Well, that should be a pretty good key. We're not initiating any of this. And because we're not initiating any of it, we're really not that interested in replying. We're not interested in a spitting contest with some bloggers that want to just make a name for themselves by attacking me personally. I don't care if they want to attack me. Go right ahead. My wife loves me. My friends love me. And we're doing the best we can in our newspaper. That's bottom line. That's what we're trying to do. So I hate to disappoint, some fans of the Remnant who are hoping there's going to be a big dramatic attack to whatever these things are back home, these attacks that are going on. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not interested in it. Never have been. And, I hope that satisfies you. I hope that rings true with what you know about me in the newspaper for a long time. This is not the kind of thing that we engage in. Don't want to get involved with it now. Have no intention of getting involved with it, in fact. So I think that's about it. Do we have anything else we want to? I don't think that there's anything else. Just again, thank you so much for your patience. We're getting to get back up on schedule here in a few weeks, and look for some follow-up reporting both on the Chartres pilgrimage and on the summer symposium here in Italy, because we're really excited about sharing all this great Catholic action that's going on in the pages of the Remnant and on Remnant TV. And we'll be back home in a couple of weeks now. No, not even, less than a week, I guess it is, to get everything fired up and going once again. Oh, by the way, one final thing, there's a mega issue. We did a double issue of the Remnant, the print edition of the Remnant. Anybody who wants a free copy of that to give to a friend or a family member, I think we've got a few thousand copies left. We're just passing them out because it's a big old double issue, a lot of great stuff in that issue. And we're trying to use it to just spread the word about the print edition of the Remnant. The Remnant TV, Remnant website are going strong, and we really want to continue to build up the print edition. We have every intention of keeping the print edition alive. So I think that's it. Thank you very much for listening to my little rambling here on the shores of Lake Garda on this beautiful day. We'll be back soon. God bless you. And again, look for the next Remnant Underground in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Thanks very much. I'm Michael Matt. We'll see you then.